Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If today we're gonna be reacting to
The McRecession.
Never been good food, but it was a quick, easy, reliable, and cheap way to get a meal that appealed to people who were time poor or just, well, you know, actually poor. Mass layoffs, increasing economic uncertainty, deferred student loan payments kicking in, and spiking levels of consumer debt should be the perfect opportunity for these cheap offerings to bring in customers who don't have much money to spare, but still want to eat.
The problem is they're raising their fucking prices to a point where people can't even afford McDonald's.
Companies like McDonald's, Domino's, KFC, Taco Bell, and Wendy's were considered recession-proof because even in the most dire of circumstances, people still need to eat, and the companies typically offered the best exchange rate of dollars to calories in the market. But that's changed. In a business move that can only be described as confusing, these brands have responded to cost-conscious, busy, and desperate consumers by becoming more expensive, slower, and less reliable. Unsurprisingly, sales across the industry have plummeted at a time when they should be outperforming. It would almost be comical if they weren't collectively some of the largest employers in the country. However, the McRecession has been caused by more than some management missteps. It's a clear sign of some much bigger problems in the wider economy.
You know, it's supposed to be cheap, quick, and an easy option.
I personally stopped eating out at fast food for me because it got so expensive it wasn't worth the money.
McDonald's posted its biggest US sales decline in nearly 5 years.
I buy the McChicken sandwich. It's $3, almost $4.
It's also hitting what traditionally had become the
yeah,
cheaper
that's
option.
expensive.
But
That
for
used to
many,
be $1.
That's no longer the case.
Okay, so before
A
we get into the
McChicken
fast food
sandwich
industry
used
as
to
the canary in the
cost
coal mine for much
$1.
larger
You
structural
said
economic
3?
problems, there is
Oh,
something
no.
more important you need to understand. Fast food locations used to be fun. Pizza Huts looked like actual huts. Chuck E. Cheese had rodent-themed decor, and McDonald's was full of bright colors, escaped convicts, and nightmare-inducing clowns. That's clearly changed, and now almost any fast food store you go into is the same generic style of nondescript, boxy modern commercial building. This has happened for a few reasons that are each very revealing about the broader direction the industry has gone. The first reason is that children have become less important to overall business demand. In the good old days, companies would advertise directly to children in the hopes they would effectively become little sales representatives and throw a shit fit until their parents gave in and took them to get some deep-fried slop. Regulations around advertising to children and a general cultural shift away from feeding children too much unhealthy food means that companies can't rely on this market as much anymore though. According to a YouGov survey, Americans between the ages of 18 and 34 are now the largest consumers of fast food, with 42% reporting they consume it several times a week. Demographic shifts means this age group is now less likely to have children of their own, so the extra money and maintenance on custom storefronts isn't worth it since a ball pit is unlikely to appeal to most 20-somethings. No shame though. Shifting consumer trends are one thing, but the bigger reason is that restaurant locations have become far less important.
That's interesting though. The others fast foods aside from McDonald's also were kind of appealing for the kids, because I know McDonald's with the Happy Meal, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
But other brands too? Like what did other brands offer?
Like in Domino's, they used to have like a place where you could sit down and have like a little pizza party. Burger King, they had like the pits. You could go like similar to McDonald's. They have like the playground. And what other place you mentioned?
Let's say KFC.
KFC. KFC, I don't know, not too much for KFC, but I forgot. In Burger King, they used to give you a crown that you would wear on your head too as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Also, when you were younger and you did well in school, they would give you like coupons
For
to
McDonald's? It's crazy.
McDonald's, Domino's to
Wow.
get free breadsticks, to get free French fries. So naturally, when you go there, you get something else too as well.
Yeah. Interesting, because yeah, McDonald's, I definitely, I remember when I was a kid, it was a Happy Meal was a thing. Like they get a toy from the latest movie or whatever. Oh.
You know what really got me into pizza is Home Alone. So I do feel like, they really rely on the kid appeal for you to go get fast food.
Never thought about it. Makes sense, I guess.
And much more interchangeable.
I mean, I'm glad they're no longer advertising for kids, so if kids don't eat it, that's definitely a good thing.
According to market data from the consulting firm McKinsey & Company, people are now almost twice as likely to order food through a delivery service like
But
Uber
when
Eats or
you think
DoorDash
about
than
it, like even when you go to the stores, like for cereal boxes, the colors that they use, the animation,
Cereal definitely markets. for
yeah,
kids,
and also at the level they put them at is not for like adult level. They put it in the kids level eye of vision, so they see it and they want it.
Yeah, and the toys also. Cereals come with the toys.
Yeah, cereal used to come with the prizes and them.
or to physically sit in a fast food restaurant and eat their meal. Fast food locations are increasingly just becoming distribution centers for Postmate drivers, so maybe we shouldn't be surprised that they have started looking like Amazon warehouses. Anyway, alongside ingredients and
yeah.
staffing, the real estate these restaurants sit atop is simultaneously the largest expense in most locations, as well as being a significant asset.
You know,
As the
I
story
kind of
goes,
don't like how everything is getting that box look. It's like I like when things used to have their own character, so there can be like a little excitement when you go there.
Ray Kroc, the man responsible for scaling McDonald's into a global fast food empire, figured out that he wasn't in the burger business. He was in the real estate business. To this day, for the majority of fast food locations, most of the money is made by the commercial real estate. The restaurant that sits on the land is basically just a tenant producing cash flows. It doesn't matter if the tenant is a Wendy's or a McDonald's. So stores have become more uniform to lower the cost of construction and the risk of having an unusual building that nobody else wants to rent if a franchise moves out. So if you want to know why fast food restaurants look so boring these days, you can blame real estate speculation, shifting socioeconomics, and middleman technology, something of a recurring theme on this channel. Now anyway, this whole game only works if these businesses still bring in cash, and to do that they need to move some hamburgers. The trouble is, that's getting really hard. Fast food prices have increased significantly beyond inflation. According to data collected from Finance Buzz, the average
you go.
McDonald's menu item is now twice as expensive as it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, you see the McChicken you were talking about? $1 2014.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
it's
it's
$2.99.
$1. Oh.
Wow, McDonald's quarter pounder with cheese. It's $11.99. What the fuck? $12 for McDonald's
Oh,
meal?
no. I used to get
Who's
McChicken and a
paying
small
that?
fry.
10-piece chicken McNugget meal, $10.99. Filet of fish, $5.49. Yeah, no way. Nobody's shopping at
I
McDonald's.
didn't realize it's been 10 years since we last been, maybe.
McDonald's medium fries, $1.59 to $3.79.
I always knew that the fries were more expensive than their sandwiches. Always.
Fries, I remember. I think the large used to be $2.79 or something like that. Wow, that's crazy.
You know
Wow.
what we used to do? We used to be addicted. We used to go when they were doing Monopoly, when you can win like a Fiat and some cash. We would go every day after the gym, and we would get
I
McDonald's.
think fries. They would get fries.
Yeah, and
for
hoping to win
win.
or collect something.
This trend is partially because fast food items used
They
to be
haven't done that
artificially
in a
cheaper than they should
while.
have
I
been.
haven't seen that either.
Maybe they do. We just don't go. I don't know.
I don't know. They used to
don't know.
advertise it though to win a
Where
Fiat
where
at
would you see the
McDonald's
advertisement?
on TV.
When people would order in-store, there was more opportunity to upsell them to larger
Every
meal sizes
summer
and
they do
tack on
that.
higher margin extras like desserts and drinks, so they could make their staple menu items cheaper to attract customers. Now, ingredients and rent has become more expensive, and on top of that, restaurants need to give a significant portion of their top-line revenue to delivery companies. To maintain their margins, they had to raise prices, and their pivot to more premium branding was a way to justify this change without acknowledging that getting food hand-delivered is a luxury with inherent
honestly,
increased costs.
I also think that people's eating habits have changed too as well. That does not really look like the only time we really go and have McDonald's maybe if you're going to the airport or in between something, but it's not the first choice. Now, if you want to be like, particularly on social media, you want to go to those places that people don't really have access to or something unusual. That's why you have these fast foods now trying to make a trendy product for like influencers to really go in to advertise. Because I remember seeing for McDonald's maybe around Halloween time, or I think Burger King, they do this burger that's all black to advertise, oh look, this is our Halloween special burger. And I think if they don't do this, you can't bring in the influencers who influence the people to go to shop at these places.
Fast food companies aren't allowed to directly offer lower prices in their stores than they do via delivery apps, even though they don't have the additional expenses. So they have had to become sneaky and offer various meal deals so that in-restaurant customers can get better deals if they are willing to navigate through deals via their own apps and pick out in-store meal combinations. If you are a savvy Mick connoisseur and you are willing to sit down, do the math, and make the most of various deals on the company-run fast food apps and in-store offers, you can end up paying half as much for the same food as someone who just turned their brain off and poked at the cheeseburger pictures they wanted on their delivery app of choice. This has made shopping for
That
fast
was
food
crazy
increasingly
to
confusing
me.
and time-consuming, which
I
is
didn't
exactly
like
the opposite
that.
reason why
When I
customers
go
go
to
these
like DoorDash, the DoorDash price is not the same price of the store.
That is annoying, yeah.
I don't like that.
companies in the first place. Now, the companies are not exactly blameless victims in this trend. Bloated and confusing menus and premium offerings had the potential to extract the most possible money out of the widest spectrum of customers, from the rich and lazy to the poor and savvy. But now, the market has turned against them, and this clever little business model could be their undoing. So it's time to learn how money works to find out if fast food companies have cooked themselves. This week's video is sponsored by Storyblocks. If you've ever had to piece together for everything, this makes life fill up your productions at once. It's not all bad news. As Q1 earnings have been revealed, some brands have actually increased their sales. Taco Bell, which is owned by the conglomerate Yum Brands, increased average store sales by 9% compared to last year. This success has been attributed almost exclusively to the company's Lux boxes, which have become what fast food used to be: a large quantity of food with a lot of calories for not very much money. Even though the industry declined overall, Taco Bell grew because it attracted customers priced out of other options. The company's own CEO boasted on the earnings call that the company's performance
I mean, that's a smart move because essentially fast food is about that, fast and cheap. So if you see everybody's getting expensive, if you can somehow cut down to that fast market, everybody's gonna come to you. And maybe, you make up for the lower price with the increased amount of customers.
was thanks to massive wins with low-income consumers. Yum! Brands, which also owns chains like KFC and Pizza Hut, does not invest heavily into real estate like McDonald's, and instead rents most of their locations from third-party commercial landlords. This means that when picking a location to open a store, they don't have to worry about the underlying fundamentals of the area and the real estate market. They can focus exclusively on what locations are going to bring in the most foot traffic. This also lets brands operate in locations that would otherwise be considered undesirable by real estate investors with a side hustle in burgers. Across the rest of the industry, though, fast food as a whole has largely lost ground to people just choosing to cook from home. I know this isn't exactly groundbreaking news to you watching, but food has become kind of expensive. The key demographics of young workers that consume fast food are the same people who are getting laid off first, and statistically have less savings to get them through periods of reduced income. These people also on average have more debt to manage outside of a residential mortgage. By now, you have probably seen the memes about being able to split your burrito purchase into 4 easy installments using Klarna through DoorDash. Now, this has probably been blown out of proportion, as Klarna is just a payment processor that a lot of people are more comfortable with over a credit card or a bank transfer. But it's a humorous way to acknowledge the more serious issue that people are going into debt just to keep up, and new platforms like this are making it easier than ever to do. Klarna and similar services now represent an extra $700 billion worth of consumer debt that isn't being officially recorded, on top of over $1 trillion in credit card debt and student debt, which people now actually need to pay again. So people are short on cash, but these companies are also losing another group of consumers. Fast food has typically been popular with people who just didn't have that much time after working a long shift and then spending an hour or more commuting. But even that has become less of a selling point. Fast food is not that fast anymore. Average wait times have increased significantly, which means unless you are willing to pay the premium to get—
Which fast food that I think is thriving, that I've seen thriving, is Chili's. The triple dipper.
But Chili's is not fast food.
It's like a
It's a
sit-down.
sit-down,
Yes. But their prices are better than these places.
Yes, those type of restaurants, low key, they have good deals. Like how do you call them? Like
The
classic Americans family.
sit down.
Yeah, classic American family. So like Chili's, Applebee's, Buffalo Wild Wings. Well, TGI Fridays went bankrupt. That used to be one of them. Like that type of places.
Red Lobster at one
Red
point,
Lobster.
but people, they're abusing the unlimited shrimp
Right.
and apps.
Because they have like sometimes they do like these unlimited, so you can just get one thing and keep eating. So like for for what it's worth, if you just need calories, that's the job.
get food delivered, it's almost faster to cook some basic food for yourself. Now, fast food getting slower has happened for 2 reasons. The first is that larger menus make it harder to prepare food in advance and keep it ready to be instantly handed over. Now, this also means that food is prepared to order, which is nice. Apart from the second reason, fast food turnover is higher than it's ever been, and overall staff care is low because people simply do not value these jobs as much as they once did. Now, expecting people to go above and beyond for a minimum wage job at a fast food franchise is clearly a bit dumb. But it's getting harder to find people that want to do the job at all. Once again, fast food companies have kind of been outmaneuvered by the delivery apps. Minimum
Z
wage workers
probably
now have
investing in the stocks. They're not doing these jobs. They're doing
more
stocks.
options.
Gen Z thinks everything in life comes easy and you don't have to work hard for nothing.
And delivering food and answering to an algorithm is more attractive to a lot of people than cooking food and answering to the power-tripping shift manager. Of course, the obvious solution is to just pay people more, and some companies are basically being forced to do that. But then they either need to raise their prices even further or cut into already razor-thin margins. These companies are investing a lot of money into automated kitchens to cut down on staff before they get too much negotiating power. But that technology is still in its infancy, and these brands have shareholders to answer to now. If they raise prices anymore, they will also be competing directly with slightly more upmarket fast casual dining, and even local independent restaurants, which are getting harder to
So I
differentiate
think fast casual dining is like Chili's, what you said more like.
from. Longer wait times and a slightly more
Or maybe like Smash Burger. That's maybe like fast casual.
expensive
dining.
menu is expected at these
Lime,
stores. For people who
Chipotle.
want convenience and are willing to pay a few extra dollars for it, they can just order from these more upmarket restaurants off the apps as well. People who aren't worried about paying a $5 delivery fee and 20% delivery tip also aren't going to think twice about paying a few extra dollars to get chef-prepared food over a barely assembled McChicken. For everybody else, the struggles of the cheapest restaurant is a sign of a pretty bleak financial reality. Most of the CEOs that presented poor earnings for this quarter acknowledged tough economic times for people choosing to eat takeaway less, concluding that cooking from home has become much more popular for people looking to make their money go further. Now, individually, this is a fantastic trend. Unless you are an extremely high income earner or working an equally extreme schedule, cooking for yourself is one of the best things you can do to improve your health and personal finances. So if you can do it, you probably should do it. But for society at large, when fast food becomes a luxury, that should raise a few alarm bells. Grocery store food has also become much more expensive, and more people than ever now work multiple
Growing
full-time
up,
jobs.
I
So
was
finding
thought like fast food is a luxury.
Well, I mean, McDonald's, you could get like a McChicken for $1. I don't think that is a luxury, but now it's definitely a luxury. For $2.99 for a McChicken, yeah.
the time amongst that schedule to
A McChicken is like what, 250 calories, 300 top.
Because
That's
for,
not even a meal.
for us, it's like food that doesn't keep you full, so it's like
Yeah,
pointless.
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't keep you full. 300 calories is like a snack.
also prepare food is hard. That's also ignoring that according to US Census data, around 9% of households below the federal poverty level don't have an adequately functioning kitchen at all. Yes, a lot of people are choosing to cook from home instead of ordering some Kentucky Fried carbs, and that's good, but a lot of people are just skipping meals altogether, and that's bad. A survey conducted by Credit Karma found that more than a quarter of respondents admitted to skipping meals because of rising grocery costs. This survey was also conducted on people who were using
That's
a credit
really
score tracking
sad.
service, so the
Not really. People can lose weight. Americans are fat, so skipping meals is not a bad thing.
population sample is probably doing better than the true average. Now, this has the potential to cause a feedback loop in low-income communities, because fast food is one of the country's largest employers. Outside of Walmart, Yum Brands and McDonald's are the second and third largest employers of American workers. They may not be the most desirable. Yum Brands and McDonald's are the second and third largest employers of American workers.
Walmart. Where's
I don't know
Amazon?
what General Electric is.
GE. You know GE?
I've never.
All the electronics, like the this thing, what you call extension cords, light bulbs, like all that's like small home stuff. It's General Electric, GE. Where is Amazon? Amazon is not on this list? That's shocking.
How old
UPS
is this
number 5,
video?
a couple days ago.
Oh no, Amazon is not on this list.
UPS number 5, IBM, wow, hi.
Are they employees or just subcontractors?
Amazon, I think employees. Drivers might be subcontractors, but I think the warehouse workers are employees.
They may not be the most desirable jobs in the world, but they provide some income to millions of people. If restaurants start closing down, that could quickly become a huge unemployment problem amongst people
Because
with
I think in those companies they get benefits. I don't
Yeah.
think Amazon will give benefits. That was a
security to begin
criticism
with.
of that.
Now, the story is not much better for these companies outside of America either. Most people around the world are struggling with the same financial realities of increased living costs and economic uncertainty. On top of that, America isn't exactly the most popular kid on the block at the moment. Brands like McDonald's, KFC, and Starbucks are struggling with a general anti-American sentiment across most of their markets as people are choosing to support their local chains over the unashamedly American businesses. According to McDonald's own market survey, they found an increase in
Yeah, thank Trump for that.
people in various markets saying they're going to be cutting back on purchases of American brands. Now, companies delivering poor financial news to their shareholders always comes armed with some excuses, but this is clearly a major shift in consumer behavior right when they can least afford it. Now, there is a growing group of consumers that unfortunately fast food isn't particularly good at taking advantage of. Go and watch this video next.
Okay.
Guess the comments, please.
I'm paying more to go to McDonald's than to the local diner spot, and the local diner spot serves better food for the same price. So why should I go to McDonald's for less or
much
more?
rather go to the local diner spot.
$20 for fast food lunch is crazy indeed. It's
It used to be like what?
well, what McChicken $1, fries is like $1.79 plus
And
a
a
drink.
drink?
Yeah, that's like $5.
And then ice cream.
Okay, then like $6-7 for like a, but that's like a full meal. That's like solid 1,000 calories, if not more. It's crazy how I used to go to McDonald's, walk up the counter, ask for something simple like a quarter pounder and a meal and a shake, and as soon as they're taking your money, turn around and grab your food and hand it over. Now you queue for a touchscreen, spend forever going through menus, get a ticket, hang around in a crowded area waiting for your number to be called, and all while the food is no longer even cheap. Yeah. Wow.
Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.